the situations that I like are, which we stay in pretty, or in another one right now, which we stay in pretty, frequently is, it's not like the push-ups, working out or practicing, your free throws in the gym by yourself. It's game 7. There's 2 minutes left. You're down by 10. Those are I like those situations all the time. It's that type of pressure that I like, where it's game time. Like you have to get things done, or you have to accomplish certain things in order to win.
Yeah.
And
so you like to stay in that zone.
Yeah, I like fourth quarter, 2 minutes left, and we're down, and we have to do XYZ to win. And I like doing XYZ and winning.
All right, welcome to the Real Estate Podcast.
Hey.
Where we talk about a lot of random stuff, but we do love real estate, and we actually talk about real estate a lot.
I got a real estate question for you.
Yeah.
So there's a tree on your roof. Still, why?
Insurance. So we looked at just taking it off, and it was going to be like $4 or $5 grand, and then we said, let's
to remove the tree.
Yeah, and we're like, why wouldn't we use insurance? And that's a whole different ballpark or game. We can dive into that. But we're trying to get insurance to pay the whatever it's going to cost, right? And there's this whole industry is kind of trips me out, like with the roofers and their relationship with insurance agents. And it's almost like these insurance companies like know that they overpay, and you hear about a lot of fraud out there on how this stuff works.
Right.
But randomly, we didn't even sign a contract. They wired us 10 grand like 2 days ago. And I was like, what's this 10 grand? And my thought is like, if the roof's going to cost 20 grand, I don't want that 10 grand. Like, let's go with someone else or something like that, or pay 4 grand to fix it. So, because, do you see what I'm saying? Like they wired us 10 grand, but if it costs 20 and we have to come out 10 out of pocket, yeah. I'd rather just pay 4 grand to the guys to take it off and replace it.
Right. So it's 10 for roof and tree removal.
Yeah, but we don't think that that's right. Like our roofer.
You don't have to use that roofer though. I believe you can use that 10 grand however you'd like. You can leave that tree there for 10 years.
Yeah, you can. But the thing is, like the roofer is supposed to be working with the insurance company, ideally to get it covered. Like that's why you pay insurance, and so you just pay your deductible. But if it's gonna cost, the reason I'm stuck on this is because I think it costs 15 or 20 for a roof, and I think that our roofer needs to get that actual number approved from the insurance company, and that's how much money we should be getting
instead of the random 10 that
instead
you got.
Of this random 10 grand. Like we didn't sign a contract or anything. We haven't even seen the bid from the roofer. It's like, what the hell is this?
Right.
But it's cool. Nowadays, they can take pictures. They take pictures all around the house, and it creates this whole 3D system where insurance can bid it out. But that's the reason we're kind of just trying to get the best deal we can on it. And, I mean, I don't know, man. We should have someone come on sometime that knows more about that. But these roofing businesses just make a ton of money. And, anyone can kind of go and start one. You don't have to be licensed to do it.
Roofing?
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. Like I'm always like, why do you always have to replace the entire roof? Why can't you just replace the?
I thought that was really funny last night when we were texting about it, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't get it. Like, just patch it. Why do you have to replace the whole roof?"
Yeah, I'm serious, right? Like, why do we need to buy a new roof if their tree fell on this side of the house? I know what they're composed of. It's the board, and then they put the sheet on it and the shingles, and like, there's not a lot to it. Right. That's why they can make so much money, because they can pay people to do them pretty cheap and pretty quickly. You got a new roof. It's not that, I know, sheets are super expensive, right? If that's what they're using, the wood right now, but that's why. And it doesn't really bother me that much. It kind of bothers me when I look at it, but I'm like, yeah, whatever.
For reference, there's a big tree
Yeah, we'll have to show some video.
There's a big tree.
It didn't even break. Like, it uprooted. It's still.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's still alive. Like, the roots are still in the ground, and it just uprooted and fell over on our friggin' house.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. I don't want to go spend $20,000 on this.
Well, why don't you just take the 10, remove the tree, and then patch the roof?
That's most likely what we'll do, unless we get that number approved, 20,000. We just got the 10 like 2 days ago. I was like, why is it? I was like, where did we get $10,000 from? And then I figured out it was from insurance.
You should have gotten them to look at everything else too. Apparently, my grandmother just did this for the hail. They went and checked out her roof. Then they went and checked out her garage. They went and checked out like a beam that, is on her front porch. They looked at her fence, and wherever they saw hail damage, they...
Lexi had them doing that. It's not there now because it rained, but they had yellow chalk, and they drew circles around every spot that they thought there was hail damage. Mm-hmm. She's talking about we want to put on a front porch and back porch, all this stuff. So we'll see, man.
All right. Well,
that's the negatives of home ownership, which you're not all about that.
No, I'm not.
I don't blame you, man. Sometimes you're like, damn.
I was thinking about that last night too. Like this, randomly we get the email for $23,000. What was random to us? Like, hey, you owe $23,000 for this property for, rehab and appliances and this.
We got it, just so they know, we have a 8-plex in New Braunfels, and it's going to be about $11,000 per unit to renovate it. We just got that bill.
New AC unit, new appliances. I was like, yep.
Yeah. No, man, I actually had an interesting conversation with someone the other day who was been wanting to buy a property for a long time, and there's a lot of people that are like, been waiting, and now they're like, okay, now I can't, like they're feeling anxious. Like, if I keep waiting, I'm literally never going to buy a house because of what's changed.
FOMO.
And I was talking to this guy, and I was like, man, I almost believe like if you're going to go buy a primary, like you want to have this as a strategy to buy multiple, like you want to buy 10 or 20 of them, and just buying one to me doesn't make a ton of sense. In the sense that, you're going to get some appreciation. And this was specifically for this guy because he actually has a pretty good business. I'm like, dude, go put that money in your business and grow your business. Don't sink it into real estate and just hope that it goes up, which it will a little bit every year. But
maybe.
Because you're going to also have the taxes, the maintenance, all this stuff. And you could just go pay rent at like $1,500 pretty set for another year. And in that case, I actually told him, like, I kind of recommend you not buying this house unless I get it, man. Unless you wanted to go all in and start buying,
Well, but you can do both.
Yeah, you can do both. And it's a hybrid of strategies. Like, I definitely over time have seen the value of renting, especially when the market's like super crazy and super hot. Then, because like right now we hadn't bought a couple here and there, but we haven't been as active as on buying long-term single-family rentals as we were the previous 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, what else is going on in your world?
Man, just a lot of the networking still. I've been reaching out to new agents, and that's been going pretty good, but they don't even have their license yet. So it's interesting to really dive in and, like, kind of with our coaching client as well, understand what people like about real estate and really try to dive into your goals with it. Like, one of our guys was saying he wanted financial independence, and I don't necessarily think the only way to do that is by doing the BRRRR strategy, which people talk about. Like, it can mean a lot of different things. We've kind of approached it where real estate is our lifestyle, and I'm seeing this insight into people where they want to buy rentals to get to that, financial independence place. And you can get there. It's just a lot slower in this market because you're banking on that appreciation. Yeah,
well, he had a good thought, which I was glad he said this, because I asked him, like, what do you if the ultimate short-term goal right now is to quit your job and live off income from real estate, like, what do you need? $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and he said $10,000 a month would be the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, if that is the goal and the short-term goal, you know, we're not going to focus on buying single-family rentals. You know?
In Austin, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, shoot, man. Even if you did that in San Antonio and say you're getting 200 cash flow per deal, you got to get a lot to get 10,000.
Right. So it's I think that was a dream I had, that you hear everybody talking about, the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started buying real estate with you, I was like, the hell is cash flow? All I know is taxes, insurance, mortgage, repairs, maintenance requests, remodels, AC unit, new tub, you know, dishwashers out.
You're right.
Where's this cash flow? Where's this unicorn everybody speaks of?
Yeah. No, dude, it's totally true. I mean, that I agree with you. It's and it's not ever anything, I guess, for me that I was really looking for to count on. Like, I was like, I want to get this. I looked at real estate, like, let me go build this real estate and then just continue to build and build and build and make money all along the way. Like, I'm not trying to go retire right now.
Well, I will say that in terms of cash flow here, there has, you know, we cash flow on our deals. Maybe not at the end of the year when we pay taxes. Maybe we break even or make a little bit, but it's not significant to where we you notice this cash flow and think about it.
Right.
But I will say that I think that real estate is the fastest way to wealth.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the net worth jumps quick when you start buying really, really good deals, walking into a lot of equity.
Mm-hmm.
And then those deals are, I mean, Dubuque, we bought it for $242 and it's easily worth double that now.
Right. No, I think you're right, man.
It's a year and a half ago.
It's, to me, what it is, and which I've always preached on, is like it's a sacrifice. Like, we have to be making money we want to grow, but we have to have that money in reserves, right? Like, we just got 23,000.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing we've been busting our ass to try and get that, right? So we're like, all right, well, we'll keep working harder. But it's that constant sacrifice that you have to say, I'm gonna, you know, instead of going on this vacation, I'm gonna save this to pay the taxes on this damn property. But what, that property went up 40, 50 grand, somebody's salary just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how I've always viewed it. After
we've already pulled all the cash out.
Yeah. After you do the cash out. And that's a, you know, you've seen my mom, she's bought in, I don't know, she probably has 18 houses. My mom doesn't live off the cash flow of her properties. She's not even thinking about it or counting on that. And that's worked for her. You know, everyone has a different approach on this stuff. But when I think of cash flow, I think other markets for sure. And I also think about syndications. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just putting it in there.
Oh, you mean as a LP? As a limited partner?
Yeah, I think of putting in $50K and getting a 8% yearly return.
I think that's a great way to buy real estate. It's not as sexy because it's not like yours alone, and you know, it's not like this thing that you bought and you're managing. But managing real estate and doing all the hands-on stuff is not sexy either.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice to sit back and get your cash flow and then get your 2-3x multiple 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, man. And I think, just my opinion is to use that as a whole strategy. Like, we just look at real estate so differently, right? Like, you know, the assets are definitely a huge part of it, but we're also doing everything you can do with real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think maybe a lot of people don't realize. Like, there's so many paths within it and so many ways to make money, and you can do all of it.
Let's talk about, I watched Corey Thompson from Roughneck to Real Estate had posted something in Roughneck to Real Estate, I believe, or some other group the other day. And I believe it was Jerry Jones, a video of Jerry Jones. Is he an oil and gas guy before Cowboys?
Yeah.
So Jerry Jones is talking about, is that his name?
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is talking about
Fingers.
Guys, we have a new addition to the podcast that Matt and I and Andrew and I are real excited about. and we're doing the Jamie style.
Yeah. Joe Rogan and Chappelle were doing an episode recently, and Chappelle was calling Jamie fingers. I thought that was so funny.
Come on, fingers. So Jerry Jones was talking about, successful businessmen, and I don't remember exactly, but talking about like what separates. There's like two different types of people, right? And it's all about your tolerance to ambiguity, the unknown, right? Or risk tolerance, to where, if you could search that'd be good. Jerry Jones ambiguity on YouTube or something.
They just said he made $2.2 billion.
Oil and gas.
Something like that. Crazy.
But he's talking about how, some people can't deal with the ambiguity of running your own business or operating on your own. And, you have to be able to be okay with not knowing if anything's going to come from it or not. I would search on YouTube if we can.
He's saying like
he's saying someone needs that paycheck every single week without a doubt, and they can't go without it. They can't go without not knowing if they're going to get it or not. But then you've got someone with a high ambiguity tolerance who, they may not get paid, this Friday coming up, and they're talking to, their partners or potential investors or whatever it may be. And they have someone in your foxhole with you. You're kind of going through it. You don't know if you're going to get paid. And then you got another deal in the background, and it's two different voices. And this voice over here is like all upbeat and tolerant, trying to get a deal done. And he's like, the key is never let these two voices mix. But I thought it was really interesting to where, because it is like I truly think my hair's turning gray from living in that ambiguity of like never knowing if we're going to have money for this or for that, or, but living that way has led to all of the success, and growing really, really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. No, man, I hear you. Like I don't know. I just don't know, because it's normal for us. I don't know how to explain it, or if a lot of people get it or not, but I definitely know we're wild. We take a lot of risk, and then we just go figure it out. And I've always been like that.
It's really not that risky, though. Like, what do we do that could have, burnt us to the ground?
Waste our time, I guess. That's it. It's just, or what people think about us, maybe.
What do you mean?
Like if we're, trying to, like, we always pull it off, but we have a risk of not pulling it off, right? And we're like, hey, count us in for this deal.
Oh, gotcha.
We're going to buy this deal, and we're going to buy this mobile home, and we're going to get, how much money was it? We're going to get $999,999. Jim wants $999,999, and we need to have that money in 6 months. That's good. That's a good point. I think it was really funny. Abe, if you're watching this, we knew we were going to get it done, but we for the mobile home closing, we didn't have the money to close on the mobile home. Right.
Day of May 3rd, can't extend any further. We go there, we're signing documents. Everybody's like, all right, when's the wire coming through? Don't worry, it'll be here this afternoon.
Don't worry, it's going to be here. We don't got it. We don't got it.
But we got it.
An
hour later, and
that's a bizarre story, dude. That's some of these things I wish people could like understand a little more, because they're just to me they're just epic feats. We're living our life and having our challenges and accomplishing that. Like, just so everyone knows, we bought 11 duplexes. We sold them 12 days later, and we needed that money to close on a mobile home park that we had under contract for a year. And that owner was not going to extend that contract one more day. And we closed those mobile home park the duplexes that day.
We got the final.
If they would have got delayed, we would have lost the deal. we've been working on for a year. That's like crazy risk. That
maybe we had the cash to close. We just didn't want to pull it out of the other.
Yeah. I mean, we try to have backup plans, right? I mean, we can sell stuff or whatever, but.
Well, we did have the cash, but it's in other places, like
Yeah, in this business or that business and
stocks.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's I don't think a lot of people like. I think a lot of people would not. They would just not be about it. Like they don't want to do that, and I'm not saying that they should. It's just people think we're crazy, like not people don't do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. In different ways.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I think, what was your point though? Like with the
ambiguity?
Yeah.
Just it really does take a special type of person, because it is crazy. It is a crazy life, and it's not that stressful, but it can be if you allow it.
I like weirdly.
I like it.
I welcome that, and I want to feel the pressure for whatever reason.
I was telling our marketing department yesterday that things are going really well, and if there's not stress going on, it's like I feel like something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If things are going too good, or like we're not in a tight spot, I feel like something's wrong.
Yeah.
I like it too. I operate pretty well under the pressure, because I don't know, you feel alive, like it's exciting.
Well, wouldn't you think that in anything that you're striving towards or working on, that's what you need to continue to grow?
Say that again?
Just like in anything that you're trying to accomplish in life, if you're trying to, like, we're trying to be great at this, that it's just, if you're a basketball player, you're working out. If you're a runner, you're pushing yourself around. Like, you always need to be uncomfortable. It seems like to me, in most things that someone's trying to get great at, you just get uncomfortable, push through it, and get stronger. Get uncomfortable, push through it, and get stronger.
I think it's different than that scenario. From the situations that I like are which we stay in pretty, or in another one right now, which we stay in pretty frequently, is it's not like the push-ups, working out or practicing your free throws in the gym by yourself. It's Game 7, there's 2 minutes left, you're down by 10.
Yeah.
Those are I like those situations all the time. It's that type of pressure that I like, where it's game time, like you have to get things done, or you have to accomplish certain things in order to win.
Yeah.
And
so you like to stay in that zone.
Yeah, I like fourth quarter, 2 minutes left, and we're down, and we have to do XYZ to win. Mm-hmm. And I like doing XYZ and winning.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Trust me, I love it. I mean, that's why I get overly excited about that deal, and it's hard to explain. But pulling that off was like, winning the freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was big until the next one.
Yeah,
that was the biggest one yet for me.
Biggest asset.
Biggest payday from a deal.
Yeah.
Like that. And then before that, it was the Grady. It was the warehouse park. Mm-hmm. That was a big one. That one was so easy. That was like the easiest deal in the world. That really was.
Yeah. That's a long story to that one too.
But that one was
I walked out of this guy. I've rarely get in fights. I don't think I've ever got two fights in real estate ever. This was one of them, sort of. I tossed the contract on his desk and said no deal, and he starts cussing me out. He's like, "Get the fuck off my property," flicking me off. Abe was with me, and 8 months later, Alex comes in and ends up closing the deal with this guy. Yeah, I still have that hat that he gave me. It's like trophy because it was one of our better deals.
It's your 12-point antlers.
Yeah, but hey, man, like that's one of those deals where, looking back, I'm like, man, we should have figured out how to keep that. Easy to say, always easy to say.
All of them, for sure.
Yeah. I wonder I think one thing I'm thinking about, just because I'm meeting with these people, is just the people that are trying to get to this point with real estate. I think the key is to just determine if you want to go all in with it or you just want to invest passively. And if you want to invest passively, it's just such a different it's just such a different path that, you know, we don't fully understand because we're just going all in with it.
Well, you're a passive investor.
Yeah, but it's just part of it. Like, people really want to get into real estate for what they believe that it can offer, and it is there, but it's not an easy way to just, you know, get that 5-10 grand cash flow that people are really wanting when they think about real estate, I feel like.
Do you truly believe in diversification, or do you just say that sometimes when you want to do a certain deal?
No, I think I try to look at it as like a lot of different angles. I think even investing with people, like, I'll invest in deals just to invest in the person that's doing the deal, and I'm like, in that sense, yeah, like I believe in doing a lot of different things and doing a lot of it as much as you can, and there's a good relationship that could come with that. Versus, if I didn't, then I wouldn't if I thought, you know, this deal is going to be a higher return than this one, then I would just not invest in that altogether and put it all here, you know. Like, I'm not actively investing in syndications is kind of new for me, but the value I see in it is in the taxes and the write-offs, and then also in the relationship with the people doing the deals.
Right.
And I like seeing how people do things, like just being involved. You know, it's just like, hey, do I have enough money to pull it off? Like, throw it in there. I'm not like, I don't get $100 grand and say, where's the best possible return I can do?
Yeah. So it sounds like you don't believe in diversification necessarily as like a philosophy, but you more like investing in, like, curiously, for example, because of investing in that person.
Yeah.
And learning about, you see that investment as providing a higher return than yes. Yeah. That makes sense.
Because I tend to think my general philosophy is no, like, forget about. I'm not trying to put in all these baskets to just not have risk. I'm like, I like the risk, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, hey, I need 25% energy and 5% bonds and
right. No, that makes sense.
I just think it's more. I think it works, but I mean, it definitely works. It's just safer. I tend to go for the things that aren't as safe.
And maybe this is just a lot of ignorance to, you know, not living through, you know, the 80s or 2008 crash or anything. But I don't think people did too bad here either.
Owning properties?
If you know, bought it the way that we do.
No.
But I really don't think there's a better investment than buying good real estate.
Have you thought about, like, because everyone that owns real estate is making money here right now.
Yeah.
Or that has owned it for, you know, since 5 years ago or 2 years ago. All those people making money is a really good thing for this local economy.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, like, everyone becomes, not everyone, but everyone who owns real estate becomes wealthier, has more money to spend, to invest, to start new businesses. So I think that's like, I've thought about that recently, about like, how's that going to really affect this area?
What's that? The real estate boom?
Just the fact that people are worth more money and have made more money now.
Yes.
You know, how does that affect an entire city when whatever? It would be good to know. I should know. Like,
it's the domino effect, and it works in reverse too. You know, when you make more money, maybe you give out 2 more loans, and then you also, you know, buy a new car for a van for the family, and then you know, do this, and maybe you put a little bit more into marketing for your company, and then hire more employees, and then they end up making more money, so then they spend more at the grocery store, and then they had to hire another employee for the right. It's the domino effect of, you know, of economics, but it also works in reverse as well when things start tightening up.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that because I started in 2012. Now that I think about it, like, I've met a couple people here and there that have tried to flip properties or made mistakes on what they bought. Usually it was from people flipping properties. I don't think I've ever met, and I'm not saying that this is like a true statement. This is just what I've seen, because where I've been. I've never met someone who's bought real estate and held on to it and lost money.
Me either. I've also never invested in something that increases the net worth the way that it does. Like real estate is, I don't think there's a better investment than real estate. That's why I asked that.
Is this kind of like, so I know you've kind of felt like this for a while, but like, is it a little new? Like, I feel like you've liked real estate a lot more in the last 6 months.
I lost
because at the beginning, right? You're like,
a year ago.
What is this cash flow? You're like,
a year ago. Well, yeah, of course. Like, it didn't start like at first. You buy that first property, which I did in 2018 with you, and then you step up a little bit, right? But then in 2019, when you buy the second from the cash out refi from the first, you step up even more, and then 3 years later, and then it starts growing exponentially.
Right.
It's not one little step up anymore. You start going up the elevator.
Right.
And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the exponential growth has been happening.
No, it's just cool. It's cool to see.
A year ago, I also lost $53,000 in the stock market via cannabis stocks. And I said I'd never buy stocks again. I was like, that was the dumbest thing I could have ever done. But I had to sell at that point in time. And then, but I sold for like an 80% loss or something. And, Liberty Health. But then,
fucking Liberty,
like, 9-10 months later, it rose up, more, I would have made money. But at that point I said, stocks are, for me,
sure.
In the way that I invest in stocks, it's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm probably losing money because I'm gambling on call options on the SPY and on S&P 500 index, and I probably lost a lot of money today because I'm gambling with it
because the market's going down or what right now.
Not necessarily. It's kind of flat, but it's not going up.
Right.
And if it's not going up, then I'm not making money.
Right.
But I asked Andrew the other day. Maybe it was what's today? Tuesday. Like last Friday or something. I was like, should I sell? I was up good amount. It's like, nah, just hold it. Because, last time I did that, the following Monday, I would have made 3 times what I sold for on Friday. But
I just think, like, I buy stocks and I'm a believer in them, but I don't, this is just my opinion. Like, I feel like that mindset is just wasting your time. Like, maybe you make a little money here and there, but you just get yourself stressed out and
it's fun though.
Yeah, if it's fun, I mean it's
just gambling.
Yeah.
Like I also really
I put myself back in my old gambling days, and I'm like, man, that's not good. But that's just for me because I know I'd be like going all out and stressing about it, and if I lost, like I'm trying to double it down the next day and get it back. And
well, that's fun though. You enjoyed doing that, right?
If you're winning, sure. But I was not.
It's going back to like the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
2 minutes left. You love gambling, don't you?
Yeah, I mean there's something about, I think, like the thrill of, like, it's weird. Like gambling for me was more about not losing. Like I just didn't want to lose than I wanted to win. Like it was the weirdest thing. And I heard a fighter, you heard of Usman, the UFC guy? Mm-hmm. He was talking about it today, I heard, and he was saying like his biggest fear is losing and letting people down. Like he's more scared of that than he's excited about winning. Right. And that's how I felt about gambling. It was weird.
You just
like if I won, like it was like, oh cool, I won. Like let me do it again. And it was like, how do I just like not lose? Like I don't know.
And you figured out, you're like, if I just don't play, I can't lose.
If I don't gamble on freaking, if I don't know that Tom Brady's Tom Brady's gonna win this game, man. Alabama can't be beat. Whatever. I would have these like, I know this is gonna happen, and half the time I'd be right. And that's what keeps you going.
So you like gambling on sports?
That's all I gambled on. Yeah, I don't.
You don't like
I haven't gambled
casinos or anything like that.
No, I did too, but I don't. Have I talked to you about this? I mean, I lost
briefly.
Like, I'd go to Vegas when I was working at a commercial brokerage. I'd take $2,000. I'd lose it all. I'd go take out $2 more grand. Take out $2 more grand. Come home. I lost $8,000. I put $8,000 on a football game.
So it's all sports though.
I'm down 16. No, it could be anything really, but mostly sports. Yeah.
It's fun though, right?
Dude.
You obviously love doing it, right?
No, I mean, I did for sure, but
it's
like I got to a dark place. Like I was like depressed, like crying.
Yeah.
I just always had this theory in my head, like, all right, if I just bet a little more, like eventually, like, okay, the way I look at it is like, if you were to think of something as a 50-50 bet, which there can be things that are kind of close to that, like they have war in Vegas where it's like highest card wins.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's pretty much 50-50.
Right.
And it's like if you bet $5 and lose, like I did this before, and I had this strategy. I was playing war, and I was like if I bet a little more than double every time. So if I bet 5 and I lose, and then I bet
10.
15. No, I had to
gotcha.
bet because 10 would break even. I bet 15 if I lose. I bet 35. I lose. I bet 90. I have to lose 8 times in a row to not win my money back. And what are the odds that I lose 8 times in a row? See what I'm saying?
I guess.
And so I sat there and played war, and I when I would win, I'd win $5. Like, because on the third bet, but I'm risking 45 or 90.
Yeah.
And so I sat there and won like $5 every like 15 minutes, and literally I got it to like $290. Like, this actually worked. This is legit. But I would have that same theory with sports. Like, I'm gonna bet on Alabama. Oh shit! I just lost $5,000. All right, let me put 15 on the next team. Oh shit! I lost. Let me put third. And eventually, maybe I would win. Maybe I wouldn't. But I get the appeal of it, but like it got dark. Like I just kept digging and digging and digging and digging. I couldn't get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they call it. I've heard it called the invisible disease. Like you never see it. You don't know people have this problem, but there's people that really have it. I definitely had it, for sure. I mean, lost everything I had 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember being in college and I lost like $7,000. I was like, that's all I had. And then later on, like losing like 50 or 60, and that's all I had. Like it was a real issue.
Yeah. So no gambling.
And I haven't gambled in 3 years, 4 years.
Different gamble, cause
I gamble on real estate, sure. Like I mean,
or stocks.
But I'm buying stocks for the long term. I'm not selling them. I'm just holding for 5-6 years.
But it could be looked at as any investment is a gamble, I guess.
Yeah, but it's just not a 50-50 flip of a coin. It's so different.
Yeah.
Like I'm either winning or losing. If we buy a house, we just hold on to it for a couple more years than we should have. We're not gonna lose it.
How did we get talking about gambling? The way I buy stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear you. I want to invite you to a casino.
I've gone. I went for my for the conventions for when I was working at Edge. I went 3 times and didn't gamble any of the times. Like that for me was like.
Was it hard?
I didn't want to go, for sure, but I had to.
But when you were there, was it hard to not gamble?
No. One thing that I feel like, and I'm sure you guys agree, like discipline. Like when you have discipline and you exercise it, it's just like a muscle. It just gets stronger and stronger. So like being there and like facing it and not gambling made me stronger with my discipline, and it just made it easier. If I'm not gonna gamble in Vegas when it's all around 24/7, then it's gonna be hard for me to gamble when I come back here, and I have to like really seek it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was I mean, I believe it was a true addiction.
There's a Gamblers Anonymous. I don't know what it's called, but.
Have you seen what's the movie with Mark Wahlberg, The Gambler?
Maybe.
Dude, that I feel like when I watch that movie, like I just like have anxiety the whole entire movie.
Yeah. You're like, damn it, Mark, you should have bet 35.
Walk away, Mark.
Yeah. Well, the reason I guess I brought all that up is I think that and I could be wrong, and 10 years from now if there's a crash in the real estate market, we could lose everything, but
got to take your shots.
Yeah, I think the best place to put it is in real estate.
Yeah. Well, we're also, like we say, man, we're in potentially one of the best markets in the country. Like that's when I'm saying everyone's making money. Like that's a lot of that's attributable to Austin. That doesn't really happen everywhere. It kind of tripped me out. Like I've seen Lexi's dad was showing me a house that he grew up in, and it's in Louisville,
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, it was like, he was telling me what it was worth back then and what it was worth now. And it was like the same price.
Oh, really?
This is like 30 years. Like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really happen here, but that happens in other places.
Right. And that's where the whole concept of, of the whole buy versus rent thing comes into play, or is because, it's not referring to Austin, Texas, where you buy it in, a year you're up 20%. It's referring to that Louisville house where it may not go up in value.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're at.
That's crazy for me to think about, but that's like probably a huge reality for a lot of properties all over the country.
Mm-hmm. That is very odd. Louisville hasn't appreciated in 30 years. Louisville is right outside of Dallas.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how far out. I mean, it might have gone up a little, but like it wasn't much. Like the house was like, I'm pretty sure we looked, like the only way we knew the value, because he didn't know the value now, we looked it up on Zillow or something. It was like 71,000. Like they might have bought it for like 62.
Yeah. That's still very hard to believe.
Yeah.
But
it is when you think about Dallas. I don't know how far Louisville is from Dallas, but Louisville's a pretty small, from what I understand, pretty small town. It's like I don't know, Smithville's a little out there, but thinking about something like that, like Granger or Bartlett. Like we bought in Bartlett. Mm-hmm. Maybe Bartlett, if Bartlett wasn't close to Austin, then it might be the same value in 20 years.
The lender didn't think that the value had increased from when we did our cash out refi.
Yeah.
Do you know if that's rented out now?
I believe so.
Full occupancy?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Nice, dude.
All right. Where is Louisville?
Dude, it's right there.
Yeah, Louisville's big now.
Yeah.
It's we used to go to Louisville from Fort Worth.
Is that it?
Yeah. That's why it was pretty hard for me to believe that.
That is weird. That's
and the
right in the heart of it.
There's Fort Worth right there. Dallas and Louisville.
But you gotta, I mean, like, I hear you.
The DFW Metroplex, the whole area, the whole Metroplex, it's doing pretty well and has been since I lived there in 2016.
Population of 77,000.
Oh, Louisville. Yeah, but I don't know what it's like there, but some places do go down. It happens. Were we talking to someone about that? Where they're saying, I don't know. I thought someone was saying the values were going down on some, like a couple blocks over in a certain market.
Detroit would be an example of that.
Detroit, yeah. Well, that's the biggest thing, man, is like what I learned, it's pretty simple, but what they pounded in my head at A&M was jobs. And that's what we're so blessed with here.
What?
Like,
Real estate values jobs.
Jobs. Everything's about jobs. Like, if there ain't jobs going into a city, then nothing's happening. Like Bartlett. No jobs are going there. It's not changing.
Maybe hiring a few extra prison guards.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's Opportunity City, baby.
Hey, buy real estate. We're here to help, right? I just want people to... I'm just really, I think there's a lot of ways to look at it, and it's easy to get excited about real estate, but just try to step back a little bit and understand what about it, because there's so many different aspects, and if you just want to go buy a couple houses a year, that can work, but that's not going to get you to financial independence anytime soon. And it doesn't necessarily have to, right? Like I'm not trying to get out of what I'm doing anytime soon. But I think people just don't realize that maybe.
Yeah, I didn't.
You just kept pushing through.
Yeah, it was the goal wasn't to, I didn't view it as like, all right, man, I'm going to buy this house and I'm about to be ready to retire.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't the viewpoint. But I did view it as like, okay, buy this house and get some of this cash flow everybody talks about. And the only cash flow I saw was coming out of our pockets into the property. And so I was like, oh, this is how it works. And so, definitely
kept pressing through, kept doing more deals, just kept, sacrificing.
But the biggest thing I learned on that was it's all about how you buy it. And then everything you were teaching me throughout that entire time was like, you know, I would send you a be like, Matt, dude, they came back. They said, you know, they can do 240. And you're like, do you love it? And I was like, no, I guess not. And you're like, we'll take it at like 160. And I was like, okay.
Dude.
And so what you taught me was like, and with that first property, like even though cash was coming out of our pocket into it, instead of the other way around, we originally had it at 103. It was worth, you know, 190. And then 6 months later, we did get our money back.
Right.
And so I was like, that's how you do it is
right.
Who cares about the immediate cash flow? It's about, for these single family rentals.
Yeah.
It's all about making all of your money on the buy. And that's the biggest thing I like.
Dude, totally, man. It was pretty cool. Like I'm trying to refinance my properties, and moving forward, we gotta adjust our strategy, and we'll figure out how to get creative. But just looking back on what we bought these properties at, like I was really happy with that. Like seeing the 160 number, like oh yeah, we were buying stuff, and even then when we bought that, those were good deals.
For what, White Brush?
White Brush.
Guess what we owe on White Brush? Just guess.
What we owe on it? 120?
Yeah, that's right. But
You try to get him. You're like,
no.
yes.
Well, we owe 120 on it,
yeah.
and it's probably worth like 230 now.
Yeah.
And we bought it for. We originally had it under contract at 103.
Oh yeah.
Late 2018.
103, man.
103.
And that's the key with that is just so people know, like, I'm just another thing I keep thinking about is everyone says it's so hard to find deals, and I think that I've never met someone that's saying that's actually putting in work.
Yeah,
it's hard to find deals if you
don't look
search
for
on
deals.
Zillow for an hour a day. Yeah, of course.
Right.
But that's not making a real effort at it. Yeah. It's not hard. It just takes commitment.
We've set a couple records on like cheapest properties bought. Dubuque was the cheapest house sold in that neighborhood, or even in that whole University Hills subdivision. It definitely, it was at that point in time, like the last 2 years, it was the cheapest one bought. Yeah. And then the duplex on Nicole, that was the cheapest duplex sold in Round Rock. Yeah. Listed on the MLS.
Right.
Years.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Knowing the market is big, right? Like knowing like what's out there. What does it look like? Hey, we just set a record. Like all that just comes from being in it. You don't know how to state that if you're not like super plugged in, and that's how you got to be to understand the deals out there.
Right. Time to wrap it up.
All right, man. That was good. We're on the same page. We're going to keep trying to buy as much as we can, and I think we just put ourselves in these tight positions, and we force ourselves to figure it out, and we'll keep doing that.
In and on, baby.
In and on.
See you next time.
If you guys need anything, let us know. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Any topics, any thoughts, hit us up. Appreciate you guys.
See you later.